What happens when humanity decides to question everything? Tradition, authority, even the universe itself. In the 17th and 18th centuries, a wave of thinkers dared to do just that. They called it the Enlightenment, the Age of Reason. It was not just a movement of ideas, it was a revolution in how humans saw themselves, their governments, and their place in the cosmos. Out of it came modern science, democracy, and the belief in human rights. The world before Enlightenment. For centuries, Europe had lived under the authority of monarchy and church. Knowledge was controlled, dissent was punished, and most people lived with little say in their lives. But cracks were forming. The Renaissance had revived art and learning. The scientific revolution had revealed laws of nature through Galileo, Kepler, and Newton. By the 1600s, thinkers began to wonder, if the universe could be explained by reason, why not society too? The birth of the movement. The Enlightenment was not a single event, but a current of ideas flowing across Europe. Coffeehouses and salons became meeting places where philosophers debated. Printing presses spread pamphlets and books at unprecedented speed. Ideas crossed borders, inspiring revolutions of thought from London to Paris, Berlin to Philadelphia. The message was clear. Truth was not handed down by kings or priests. It could be discovered by reason. Reason as the guiding light. At the heart of the Enlightenment was reason, the belief that human beings could use logic and evidence to solve problems. Whether in science, government, or morality, reason replaced superstition and tradition as the highest authority. This spirit of rational inquiry gave birth to new sciences, new philosophies, and new visions of society. Science unleashed. The Enlightenment built on the discoveries of the scientific revolution. Newton's laws of motion revealed a universe governed by order, not chaos. Medicine advanced through experimentation and anatomy. Thinkers like Benjamin Franklin explored electricity, while naturalists began cataloging species. For the first time, science was seen not as a curiosity, but as a key to improving human life. Political philosophy. The social contract. The Enlightenment also transformed politics. Philosophers like John Locke argued that governments exist to protect life, liberty, and property, not to serve monarchs. Jean-Jacques Rousseau spoke of the social contract, where power rests with the people. These ideas challenged centuries of absolute monarchy and laid the foundations of modern democracy. Montesquieu and the separation of powers. One of the most influential Enlightenment thinkers was Montesquieu, who argued that government should be divided into branches, legislative, executive, and judicial, to prevent tyranny. His ideas later shaped the US Constitution and influenced democracies around the world. The Enlightenment didn't just dream of liberty, it designed the tools to protect it. Voltaire, voice of freedom. The wit and sharp tongue of Voltaire became the voice of Enlightenment ideals. He mocked superstition, fought censorship, and defended freedom of speech and religion. His famous words, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it," captured the movement's passion for tolerance and open debate. Voltaire showed that words themselves could be weapons of revolution. Diderot and the Encyclopedia. Denis Diderot undertook one of the boldest projects of the era, the Encyclopedia. It aimed to gather all human knowledge into one work, available to everyone. Though condemned by authorities, the project thrived, spreading science, philosophy, and practical knowledge across Europe. The Encyclopedia symbolized the Enlightenment dream that knowledge should be free and accessible, not locked in monasteries or palaces. Women and the Enlightenment. Though often led by men, the Enlightenment also sparked new debates about women's rights. Thinkers like Mary Wollstonecraft demanded education and equality for women in her book, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. Salons, often hosted by women, became vital spaces for intellectual exchange. While society remained unequal, the seeds of modern feminism were planted in Enlightenment soil. The spread beyond Europe. The Enlightenment was not confined to Europe. Its ideas traveled across the Atlantic, fueling the American Revolution, with Jefferson and Franklin drawing directly on Locke and Montesquieu. Later, the French Revolution exploded with cries of liberty, equality, fraternity. Even in Latin America, leaders like Simón Bolívar carried Enlightenment ideals into struggles for independence. It was a global awakening. Critics and shadows. Not everyone embraced Enlightenment ideals. Some argued that reason alone could not capture the fullness of human life. Others pointed out that slavery and colonialism persisted even in societies claiming liberty. Enlightenment thought expanded freedom for many, but it also exposed hypocrisies that would take centuries to resolve. The legacy in human rights. Despite contradictions, the Enlightenment left behind a revolutionary legacy that still shapes the modern world. The U.S. Declaration of Independence, the French Declaration of the Rights of Man, and countless constitutions drew directly from its thinkers. The idea that every person has dignity, that governments must be limited, and that knowledge belongs to all became cornerstones of modern civilization. Schools, libraries, and democratic assemblies were built on Enlightenment visions of equality and access. Today, whenever we speak of freedom of speech, the rule of law, or the right to education, we echo the voices of Locke, Rousseau, Voltaire, and Montesquieu. Even with flaws, the Enlightenment carved pathways that allowed later generations to fight for abolition, suffrage, civil rights, and justice. Its fire was not perfect, but it was unstoppable. Lessons for the modern age. The Enlightenment does not belong only to the past. It speaks urgently to our present. In today's world of misinformation, propaganda, and polarization, its call to reason and dialogue remains vital. Its thinkers remind us that freedom thrives only where truth can be questioned and debated. But the Enlightenment also offers a warning. Ideals written on paper mean nothing unless lived in practice. Rights can be declared yet ignored. Freedoms can be promised yet denied. The task, then, is not only to inherit Enlightenment values, but to renew them, to keep questioning authority, demanding justice, and defending human dignity. In an age of digital noise and cultural divides, its greatest lesson is that progress requires both courage and responsibility. Conclusion: the age that never ended. The Enlightenment was not just a chapter in history, it was a turning point for humanity. It lit a fire that still burns, urging us to think, to question, to imagine a better world. From dusty coffee houses to the halls of revolutions, its thinkers dared to believe that reason could transform society. And even now, centuries later, we walk in their light, the light of an age that never truly ended.